Welcome back. All right, it is time to talk about the Florida Panthers. Florida is really a Jekyll and Hyde team. When they're good, they're fantastic. When they're bad, they look quite out of sorts. And during the regular season this year, Florida looked out of sorts a lot, but they got it together at the end of the year. And then they go on a run all the way to the Stanley Cup final. So 2021-2022, they win the President's Trophy, losing the second round. And then the following season, they go all the way to the Stanley Cup final, despite being the number 2 wild card or 8th seed in the East. Now, currently the team has $1,137,499 in cap space, according to Cap Friendly. And there's been some exits. Both of the Stahl brothers are gone. Mark Stahl's already signed elsewhere. Eric Stahl is not. Colin White, Anthony Duclair, Giovanni Smith, Patrick Hornquist, and Alex Lyon. And, of course, Hornquist retires. Lyon goes elsewhere. He was valuable depth for them in the nets. They've added Stolars to try to offset the loss of Lyon. The thing is, Stolars, I don't think would clear waivers if we get to a period where Spencer Knight's ready to come back and you don't want to carry 3 goaltenders. But you push that down the road. We don't worry about that right now. Again, this isn't season preview. This is looking at how they've done so far in the offseason. So the forward group, we know this team can score, right? We know that this team can score goals in bunches. Carter Verhaeghe, what a story. 42 goals, 31 assists for him. So 73 points for Verhaeghe, absolutely remarkable. I am a big fan of his work ethic, and it's nice to see somebody who works as hard as he has get as far as he has as well. Luostarinen, another very exciting player to watch. 17 goals, 26 assists this year. And honestly, I think he can hit 20 goals this season. With the right amount of ice time. Now, Evan Rodriguez is a solid addition. Rodriguez can play up and down your lineup. He can play various positions in your lineup. And so I like that addition. Lomberg's on an expiring contract. He's UFA next summer. I'd be very surprised if he leaves Florida. I think that's been a perfect marriage between team and player. Asplin's been added. He's depth. He can clear waivers if you need him to go down to the minors. And Heponiemi's there as well. We'll see if Haponiemi ends up breaking camp with the team. Then you get to the middle of the ice. And Sasha Barkov, up and down season for him. 23 goals, 55 assists, 78 points. But I did see at stages during the playoffs, people frustrated with Barkov and not enough production. The thing with Barkov is you're always going to get that good, solid two-way game. So when Barkov's not scoring, he's still playing very well defensively. And while I will admit 78 points is probably a little bit below where you're going to want it if you're the Panthers, it's not that bad. If that's a down season, that's really not that bad. Sam Bennett, of course, has been a revelation since arriving in Florida. Anton Lundell has room to grow, and I think his offensive numbers will go up. Steven Lawrence, added from San Jose in the Duclair trade. He's on an expiring contract. He's a UFA next summer. Stenlund's been added. He's just got a 1-year contract, so he's unrestricted next summer. And then you've got Dalpe. Dalpe did come in and play briefly in the playoffs when injuries started to take their toll on the Florida Panthers. So the center group's pretty good. Left side's pretty good. Right side starts with Matthew Tkachuk. Tkachuk with another 100-plus point season. He really is the guy in Florida and could very well win a Hart Trophy over the next couple of seasons. Sam Reinhart, expiring contract. Maybe a big year for Sam Reinhart. Again, expiring contract, UFA next summer. You got to watch guys in contract years. That's 2 different things you have to watch for. 1, for the totals to be high for the team that's got that guy in a contract year. And 2, the reality is that these guys that have these contract years, it could be hard to follow those up. So Reinhart might be a good bet for a really good, strong regular season and playoff, but then it's a matter of after he signs that extension, what do we see? Then you've got Denisenko. Denisenko, young forward for them. Cousins, some grit there with Cousins, who's also on an expiring contract. He's unrestricted next summer. Lockwood, an addition for them. Will Lockwood, and I can say this after having seen him in Vancouver for a while and played in Abbotsford as well. Hardworking forward, gritty player. I don't know if he's ever going to be an NHL regular, but he gives you an honest shift every game. And every shift an honest shift, really. I can't just say an honest shift because that makes it sound like he has one good shift. That's it, one. Anyways, Gerald Mayhew's been added as well. He's got a 1-year deal. And Alex True has been added. Good penalty killer for their AHL franchise. I don't think he plays NHL games for them. So again, this is a good forward group. They don't have a ton of cap space to add anybody. And then you get to the blue line, and this is where things are fascinating. So Ekblad, Montour, both banged up badly during the playoffs. Both are going to miss the start of the season. That's the reason that I have them written in red ink as opposed to the others who are in black. Montour, of course, coming off of a career year, 16 goals, 57 assists, 73 points. And what makes it tough is his contract runs out at the end of the season. He's an unrestricted free agent next summer. And that 73 points stands out because before that, his career high was 37 points. I don't know that I would expect 73 points from Montour, but now he's going to miss the start of the season. We don't know how he's going to be when he does come back. And so, yeah, I mean, sometimes players come back and it's like they haven't missed a beat. Sometimes they come back and it takes a little while for the scoring to return. And again, with Montour, this past season, just everything fell his way. Can he do it again? Then you've got Forsling, who is on an expiring contract. Mahura. Ekman Larsson's been added from Vancouver. I think that Ekman Larsson was... I think there was too much expected of him in Vancouver. I think that in a support role in Florida, he should be just fine. So maybe too much praise on one side and too much criticism on the other. Ekman Larsson, the reality is somewhere in between the criticism and the praise that he's had over the years. Kulikov added as well, and he's on a 1-year deal. So this is likely going to be that top four, although Mikkola, with the amount of money they gave him salary cap-wise, maybe they envision him as a top four as well. And then Kierstead, they've got Mike Riley that they've added, who, of course, Boston bought out. So without Ekblad, without Montour, it is a group that's probably going to have to find its footing. You're going to have guys who aren't used to playing together necessarily. And so the earlier that they can figure this out, or the earlier they get back Ekblad and Montour, the better off they are. You've got Lucas Carlson, who did fill in for them this past season as well. Belinsky's signing, we'll see whether or not he breaks camp with the roster. They've signed Ludwig to a two-way deal. Just looking for the terminology. It's somewhere in my brain. Two-way deal for Ludwig. And then you've got Benning and Fitzgerald. Interestingly enough, Casey Fitzgerald re-signs with the team today. I believe he was UFA before that, so he's on the board because he signed with them again today. And then there's the goaltending question. So Bobrovsky, is the contract good? Is the contract bad? It depends on the day, doesn't it? When he's taking the team all the way to the Stanley Cup final, we can kind of shrug and say, well, it's an expensive deal, but hey, they're in the Stanley Cup final. But then when they don't win it and Vegas, makes every goaltender look bad in the playoffs, not just Bobrovsky, that's where the conversation changes to, well, maybe they would have won it if, right? So Bobrovsky and Knight, it's an expensive duo. It looks like Knight's going to be good to go this fall, which is great news for him and for the team. I still think Spencer Knight's got starter potential. And I still think a year from now, we could see the discussion of maybe Bobrovsky's contract being on the market again because the cap's going to be going up and Florida's going to really want to stay in contention. This is a pretty good, solid young team. You see here I've got the Eastern Conference champions magnet on the board. That arrived actually after the final, I believe. I don't think that was on, or might have been on the board during the final. It was over a month ago, so I don't know. Sometimes I forget what happened yesterday. But what I like with this is the addition of Stolarz. Stolarz had a decent season with the Anaheim Ducks. He's not going to make you forget about Alex Lyon necessarily, but he can steal games. He can play pretty well. So in the event that let's just play devil's advocate and Spencer Knight can't go in the second week of October, Stolarz is a decent option. And if they can get him through waivers, he is a really strong call-up opportunity as well in the event that Bobrovsky or Knight get hurt. Again, I think Stolarz had a couple of pretty good seasons with Anaheim, even though the numbers won't necessarily show it because that Ducks defense is just bad. Or at least was last year. We'll see if it is again this year. And now the question mark is, can Florida's defense hold the fort until Ekblad and Montour return? So, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about what Florida's done in the offseason thus far. What else do you think they might do? I think they're probably about done. When your team goes all the way to the Stanley Cup final, you don't want to make huge changes. They've already had some exits. They've already made some additions. And again, they don't have a ton of cap space. they're probably better off just leaving it for now. But let me know your thoughts. Hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.